Hey guys, we get asked quite a lot, particularly on the Japan channel, about what sort of cameras that we use. So this video is going to be to answer that. If anybody sends us a question and says, what sort of cameras do you use? We're going to give them this video. It's going to be a response for that. So the main one we use for the big pictures that you see at the front of the car and that sort of thing is the GoPro. So it's a GoPro 2. This is actually in a waterproof housing, this one. This is the second GoPro 2 we've had. The first one we actually had a few problems with. It used to seize up. You go to turn it on. Pretty small, isn't it? A couple of ports there. It's got a memory card here. But yeah, the first one we had a few problems with. It used to seize up. You'd go to turn it on, it just wouldn't turn on. And the only way to make it turn on was to connect it up to the computer again, connect it up to a power supply. So that was a bit of a pain. So we returned it and got this one to replace it, and we've had no problems with this one at all. It's been really, really good. So that's a waterproof housing for it, which we've tested. We've had it in water a few times, fully submerged in water, no problem. Can't remember what depth. It's always irrelevant, isn't it? How many people go to 30 metres, but you can go down to 30 metres or 50 metres or something ridiculous like that. So that's the waterproof housing, and then it's got another housing that's naked or something they call it. It's got big holes in it that you can use if you want to keep the camera cooler, or if you're in an environment. The main reason we like the waterproof housing is not as much that we get it wet very often, but it's to keep the dust out. We find one problem with doing a lot of filming is that you get dust in the camera itself or on the lens itself, and this waterproof housing solves that and sort of protects the camera a bit too. So it's good, but it can get a bit warm in there sometimes. So if you have the back open like that, it helps keep it a little bit cooler. So that's what that's for. And there's a whole heap of brackets and mountings and things. There's packets of them here with all sorts of different angles and things. These are actually little stick-on attachments that you can stick onto things. So they've got curved ones that curve one way, and then they've got ones that curve another way, and they've got flat ones. So you can stick it onto something and then just slide the bracket on so it clips into place. And they're pretty strong. GoPro brand fittings is what you want. You want the GoPro brand camera and the GoPro brand fittings, and you've got to be really careful. I'm actually going to put a link in the annotations at the top of this video if you've got your annotations turned on, and also in the description under the video, because you don't want to use copies. We researched this quite a bit when we were buying new bits for ourselves, and the reviews on the copy attachments are generally pretty poor. The brackets like this that break and snap and don't stick properly, because this 3M adhesive on here is amazing. So people put it on dashboards of cars and all sorts of amazing places, and it stays there. So we'll put a link in the annotations and in the description directly to listings for the genuine article, and that's what you want to look out for. And you want to look when you're buying, make sure it's a recommended seller or high ranked seller. Just be really careful, because they have a lot of rip-offs of these from China and India and all sorts of places that are cheap and nasty, and they're cheap. So anytime you see a GoPro that's less than about $300, it's probably a rip-off. It's probably a copy. So it's just not worth it. The reviews that we've read, they're rarely good about these sorts of things, and the brackets and things. The last thing you want is a bracket that's going to peel off or break off and drop your camera, because then your camera's going to get damaged. So you'll have to spend a little bit more to get the GoPro brand stuff, but it's worth it, because you'll end up with better pictures and you won't have problems. Otherwise you'll end up with problems and they'll break off and things. So that's those brackets. And then this is a gem. This is the one we use for the car, and it's got the big suction cap. You just push it in and then pull down the lever, and it sticks. It really sticks. It's really, really good. And then to get it off, you just do the opposite. You push the lever up, and there's a little tongue here. You just pull that, it breaks the seal, and it just pops off really easily. But yeah, once you put it on there, it stays on. It's a really strong fitting. Again, it's the genuine article, genuine GoPro brand. And the camera mounts underneath like that, or any other connection. We've done the same thing in the aeroplane. We use this in the aircraft as well, into the aircraft window, straight out the window. Also in the aircraft, we've used this one before. This is a head bracket, so you put it on your head, put it on your head like that, and then you can mount the camera here or here. Oh, that's the other thing. In the settings for it, you can invert the picture so that you can either have it mounted like this with the bracket at the bottom, or you can have it mounted like that with the bracket at the top. So you just invert the image so that you can put it in the direction that you want it to be. Very clever. So it can go on there. That can be useful. We've used that a few times actually. That's been pretty good. And then just a lead to attach it to the computer. There's no screen at the back of this. You can't actually see what the camera's looking at. So when you pick the setting, you can have a narrow setting or a wide setting or a super wide setting. And you can't actually see what the camera's looking at. After a while you get a bit of an idea, but you can't really see. So you don't know until you get home and plug it into the computer, and then you get your images off here and recharge it at the same time. Here's a bracket that originally for bicycles, I think, but you can use it for anywhere where you've got a pole that you want to attach to. And again, genuine GoPro article, and you can do all sorts of combinations. So you can take these bits off, right, and then you can do all sorts of angles and things. So we've done some videos in Japanese supermarkets and shopping centres. We used this on a trolley. There's a little secret for you. And recently we bought this one. I haven't even opened it out of the packet yet, because we're buying a special connection to go from the GoPro into the headset of the aircraft. And to do that, we can't use this box because this box is all sealed up where the plugs are. So we needed to buy this extra box, which is open at the side, which will allow us to plug in our connection for our speaker or our microphone. So again, a little bit expensive. That was just this part alone was about $50, I think, something like that. It was pretty expensive. It might not have been that much, but it was reasonably expensive for an empty plastic box. But again, we brought the GoPro because we read the reviews on the others, and it said that the screws would come loose, which means you'd be flying along or driving along, and all of a sudden the camera would go brrr. And there's nothing worse if you shoot a video and get to the end of it and find that your camera's dropped down and you missed it. That can be, particularly if it's an aeroplane or something where you're paying a few $100s an hour, not good news. So it's worth spending just a little bit extra. I think there's some things we can cut corners on and some things that we shouldn't. And I think equipment like this, it's better just to spend a little bit extra and get the good one, So that's the GoPro. And then the other camera that we use, that we're actually using to film this, is a Nikon Coolpix, and it's a full HD or 1080 wide pixel, 1080 pixel wide HD. It's pretty good. The problem with it is the lens, like those in and out, those little cameras with the zoom in and out lenses like that, the problem that they seem to have is they let dust in. They do seem to let dust in, and we've had this problem with heaps of cameras because we carry cameras all day, every day. Every time we leave the house, we've got cameras on us. And it's even though they're in a bag, they get dust in them, and that's a common problem we've had. That we've had cameras that have been perfectly good, nothing wrong with them at all, but we have to stop using them because the lens get too much dust in it, and then when the light hits the dust, it ruins the picture. So it's a real problem with those small cameras. The only solution to that probably is to get a waterproof version. Again, if you've got a waterproof camera, that solves that problem because it won't let the dust in either. But this camera is a good one. We've tried a few different ones of this style, just the cheap, small HD cameras, and it's pretty good. So the Nikon Coolpix, so I'll put a link for that too in the end or somewhere. I don't know. Look around the page. Somewhere here there's a link to the Nikon. So anyway, there's the answer. Those people that keep asking what cameras we use, there are our answers. We've had others as well, and we'll probably have more in the future, but they're the two that we've found to be the best. GoPro's priceless, of course. It's a fabulous tool, really good. So anyway, there's the answer. We use them. More videos coming soon.